Are we?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Okay, this is the Joint Planning and Zoning Committee and Special Call Committee of the whole meeting. It is Wednesday, May 17th, and it is a little after 2:30 p.m. The meeting is hereby called to order. Approval of the minutes. Do we have any changes to our last minutes? We don't even have our last minutes, I guess we'll just slide on by with those until next week. Rezoning cases, we have one case. It is ZAC 2023-00005, Choice Neighborhood Grant for the Smithfield community. Who is our presenter? Imagine that, the other end of the table.
This is ZAC 2023-5 for the Smithfield community, and it involves the College Hills neighborhood, the Graymont neighborhood, and the Smithfield neighborhood. And it's an application for a change in zone district boundaries for 8 development sites that are included in the Choice Neighborhood Grant application. The plan contains proposed zoning changes to accommodate redevelopment of the Smithfield Court public housing community and other key sites in Smithfield. The Smithfield Choice Neighborhood Project area is generally bounded by Interstate 5920 to the north, Interstate 65 to the east, Graymont Avenue to the south, and 7th Street West to the west. The Choice Neighborhood Program is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's signature place-based initiative that leverages public and private dollars to support locally driven strategies that address obsolete public housing sites through a comprehensive approach to neighborhood transformation, which focuses on directing resources to address 3 integrated case goals: housing, people, education, and neighborhoods. The proposed redevelopment of Smithfield Court, a public housing site in the Smithfield neighborhood, will upgrade and modernize an approximately 30-acre site into a mixed-use, mixed-income community. While central to the Choice Neighborhoods program, this proposed redevelopment targets several key sites in addition to the Smithfield Court public housing site as catalysts for the reimagination and revitalization of the entire Smithfield community. Located less than 2 miles from downtown Birmingham's Central Business District and characterized by a well-established residential neighborhood, the conceptual site plan and proposed mix of uses are intended to complement and support existing and future land uses and needs while still respecting the scale of the surrounding context. The overall goal for this plan is to be a framework for redevelopment that supports and improves the quality of life for residents, offers new opportunities to the neighborhood, and supports a vibrant future. Nearly all of the key development sites identified by this redevelopment plan are currently zoned in a classification that does not allow for a mix of uses appropriate to the vision identified by residents of the neighborhood. To achieve the goals of this plan, it is recommended that several key development sites should be rezoned to mixed-use medium to reinforce Reverend Abraham Woods Jr. Boulevard as a key commercial corridor and Center Street as an essential north-south connection. On the other sites within the project area, it is recommended that those sites are rezoned to the multiple dwelling D5 district to allow for a mix of appropriately scaled residential densities throughout the neighborhood. This combination of zoning designations across the redevelopment area will provide opportunities for community use as well as potential retail commercial uses that enhance the existing character and will address the unmet needs of the community. On January 4th, 2023, the Birmingham Planning Commission approved an amendment to the city's future land use plan. This amendment changed the future land use for each of the 8 sites identified in the Choice Neighborhood Program. The proposed zoning changes are consistent with the future land use plan. Site number 1 is the former JCCEO building, and it's going from mixed use low to mixed use medium, and the proposed use is going to include the adaptive reuse of the existing building for approximately 100 senior housing units and an early childhood learning center or daycare or possible ground floor uses. Site number 2 is Graymont Avenue West and Center Street North, and it's going from mixed use low to mixed use medium. The proposed use of the site includes approximately 150 multifamily residential units constructed over ground floor commercial and/or community uses. Site number 3 is the Smithfield Court Public Housing Community, and it's going from D5 multiple family to mixed use medium. The proposed use of the site is mixed-use medium, and mixed-use medium is proposed across the first 1/3 of the super block along the boulevard to allow for ground floor commercial and/or community uses. The remainder of the site will retain the D5 multifamily zoning. This site will include approximately 400 units of multifamily residential duplexes, cottages, townhouses, and garden-style apartments. The design includes open space and recreation amenities throughout the site. Site number 4 is the Smithfield Library, and it's going from mixed-use low to mixed-use medium. The proposed use of this site includes approximately 50 multifamily units constructed over ground floor commercial and/or community-type uses. Site number 5 is the Boulevard site, and it's going from D3 single-family residential to mixed-use medium. The proposed use of this site includes approximately 25 multifamily units constructed over ground floor commercial and/or community-type uses. Site number 6 is 421 Reverend Abraham Woods Jr. Boulevard, and it's going from mixed-use low to mixed-use medium. The proposed use of this site includes approximately 50 multifamily units constructed over ground floor commercial and/or community-type uses. Site number 7 is the Hill Elementary School, and it's going from D3 single-family dwelling to D5 multiple-family dwelling. The proposed use of this site includes approximately 75 multifamily units. Site number 8 is the Parker Surplus site, and it's going from D3 single-family dwelling and D4 small multifamily district to D5 multifamily district. The proposed use of the site includes approximately 350 multifamily units. A pocket park and open space is also proposed for the site. The existing Parker High School parking lot will be relocated. The stormwater staff will need to review the required documents showing how increased quantities of runoff for the impervious area will be addressed, and the Birmingham Department of Transportation has reviewed the conceptual plan and does not have any immediate concerns regarding traffic circulation. For ingress and egress of each site, BDOT prefers the developments utilize alley access where possible, and prior to any permits being issued, a more detailed site plan for each individual site will need to be submitted for review. All landscaping, buffering, and screening must comply with Chapter 6 of the City Zoning Ordinance, and prior to any permits being issued, a more detailed landscaping plan for each individual site will need to be submitted for review. The Smithfield community met on May 8, 2023 to review the proposed project and voted to recommend the proposed zoning changes. The vote was 17 for approval and 0 for denial. This property is located within the Western Framework Plan area, and this implementation committee is not currently active. The Zoning Advisory Committee met at its regularly scheduled meeting on May 16, 2023 to review the proposed rezoning request and unanimously voted to recommend the changes to the Planning and Zoning Committee. And that concludes the report.
Good, thank you very much. Any members of the committee, this is a long report, so does anyone have any questions or comments?
I have comments for Dr. Thomas and her team. This is going to be an exceptional project. When I say exceptional, I mean it's top class, first class, class A. And people's lives are going to really be transformed. With this type of development. I'm super excited to see this happen. Being in Birmingham all my life, leaving for about 10 years and coming back to see this transform. This is so transformative. And just to, having you work on this project, is an honor. Because you get it. You really get it. You get what community needs, and I really appreciate that. And Corey, you too. Can't leave you out.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Woods, Councilor O'Quinn? Well, if y'all don't have questions, I just have two. Who will control the type of retail, commercial that will go on the ground floors of we don't want any payday loans or anything like that. So who is the controlling entity? Will that be the housing authority? Will it be us?
So we'll have a lot of conversations and community engagement around what actually will fill the commercial components of the development. And it will be a combination of HABD as well as developer-owned. But that is all in partnership together. We will have the conversations about what that is and community input and feedback as we presented last night as well to community members around what folks want to see in the community and how it aligns with the application that we submitted.
Okay, because normally when we do a rezoning, we put key conditions on so that nothing horrible happens. But since we're in charge of this, you know, you would think that we would control the horribleness of things that could happen, but there are businesses that no one wants. Maybe unless you own a payday loan or a, you know, more. You know, there's
We will
some
not
things.
have payday loans.
Yeah, but I would also think that there would be other businesses that we would really not want to have in a housing community, even a changed housing community, you know. It might be convenient, but we still wouldn't want to encourage some uses when you've got children and young people around. And then the other question, if I can remember what it was, it was the relocated parking lot from Parker High School, and it, at least on paper, it looks like it has been relocated pretty far away. And I was just wondering who is supposed to park in that lot?
So we were moving the parking lot that was for the games around the field. So that is really for the parking for the recreation.
Oh, okay, well then it's not a big deal. I thought if students and teachers and, you know,
No.
personnel were supposed to park there and it was pouring down rain, they might object to having to walk around the baseball field,
Right.
you know, to get where they're going. But now I'm not concerned, so, yes, Dr. O'Quinn?
Yeah, so the applicant for these rezonings are the city of Birmingham, right?
Yes.
So, is it our intent to retain ownership of the property through the project?
So, not for the life of the project. So we will have some ownership transition to the developer. And then HABD has ownership of site that they will maintain. But there are some that we will maintain for the foreseeable future until the developments are done, at which time the developer would then take ownership as well as project management of the sites. Some of the sites, but not all of them. We
So-
can be more specific about which sites those are, but.
So sort of in line with Councilor Abbott's question, are we, you know, contemplating queue conditions on these rezonings that would, you know, restrict some of the potential uses?
That's absolutely something that we can do.
It hasn't come up in conversation yet, but
Yeah. And I'll add that HUD also have specific requirements
Yes.
related to what type of businesses can be in multifamily developments. And so there are already requirements on what developers can put in those developments. So it's mostly related to, you know, like public services, barbershops, grocery stores, retail, but not a lot of, you know, like nightclubs and things like that.
Yeah.
And there's a relationship to demonstrated economic impact, because obviously this grant is meant to do that. And so there are those stipulations, and we can talk about the permitting zoning requirements that we can include as we move forward with designation of what those economic commercial assets might be.
Yeah, I would encourage, you know, the committee to consider that. You know, as long as the city is maintaining control of the property, we're always going to do the right thing. You know, we always do the right thing.
Yes, of course.
Always.
And so
But-
we would own through the development, so we would be able to control what happens in the development of those buildings.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is that when you change the zoning, it's in perpetuity, and so, you know, that whoever, if the property changed hands at some point, you know, it's those queue conditions are valuable in terms of kind of controlling what future uses may be allowed.
And giving residents some comfort that nobody's gonna sneak something on them later, because all you have to do is change elected officials and change, you know, there's certain things, you change a new department head and you get somebody who's gung-ho about something that, you know, people aren't necessarily enthusiastic about. And then, you know, it just gives people comfort to know, well, it's queued out, and if somebody wants to bring it back, it has to go back before the city council and we'll know about it. You know, there's all those concerns. Councilor Woods, you have anything?
Just along the same lines, you know, if we were dealing with an outside developer, he's probably already been tagged in terms of the neighborhoods, honestly. But I think there's some, you know, probably some low-hanging fruit as far as what to queue up. I don't necessarily see we could necessarily run through it now, but we ought to tag that stuff before it comes to full council with those keys. I mean, you control some of that through an agreement, but once it changes hands, you kind of lose, you know, control of that.
You know, just in the way of suggestions, I would say, you know, anything that's likely to generate noise complaints might be on that list.
And then, is the intent to have one developer or multiple developers?
Currently, we have one lead developer, and that's part of the requirement of the Choice Neighborhoods Initiative grant. And it is a partnership between Integral and Rural Enterprises. So Integral is a large developer that's won and been awarded and completed a Choice Neighborhood Initiative grant in Atlanta, a prominent Black-owned developer. And Rural Enterprises is a smaller Black-owned developer whom they are developing the capacity for to do this grant and in partnership with for this application. What's that?
How the tour going?
Oh, the tour was amazing. It went really, really well. We're very excited. The team asked a lot of questions. I think they were very engaged. And they didn't ask any hard questions, you know, not harder than the questions y'all asked. So I was very well prepared. We were very well prepared for their questions. And I think it went really well. So we're supposed to find out at the end of June or the beginning of July. So we don't have too long to wait to be here that we are awarded this grant.
We're gonna get it.
It's really exciting to be able to kind of have this type of stuff on the table, but definitely putting those few conditions in there, so we don't have to worry about it.
And one more last question.
This
What,
one,
I can't say that. What kind of businesses are the neighborhood telling y'all they want in there?
We're hearing a lot about food, access. We're hearing a lot about things that get folks active. We're hearing a lot about early learning and childcare, which we're already planning in the JCCEO building in the first phase. So those are a lot. We're hearing a lot about workforce, which is also a part of our plan with the Social Innovation Center. So a lot we're already capturing in some of the key components of the application. And then I think there's a lot of room for attracting some really dynamic economic or commercial assets as well.
Anything around youth, like youth programs for the younger generation?
Yes, we have been also, we've been working with a number of partners that focus on youth programming, and so we will be focusing on that as well.
I can see a nice farmer's market in there.
That's part of the plan too, yes.
Nice ice cream shop.
That's not yet part of the plan, but it could be.
Maybe along with cooking demonstrations.
nice nail salon.
No.
And hairdresser.
Are you sure? I don't think so.
Hey, listen, people want to be able to walk to those places, not get in their car and drive.
Really good and upscale.
Okay, upscale. Y'all, upscale.
Upscale.
I did think of one other question because I can't remember. What is the maximum building height allowed in mixed-use medium?
That's 60
60, and that's like 5 stories?
approximately.
So what's the maximum height of building we're planning on putting in here?
I think they'll be around 4 stories.
So we'll have a little space for a rooftop.
I think that's the tallest one, the rest of them will be like 2 stories.
Okay. I think that's, if there are no other questions, are there any comments from any members of the staff who have anything they'd like to add? Well,
Do you want us just to recommend some cues, or how are we gonna handle that? I was just looking through the list, you know, and the things that seem to be, you know, potential issues: bar, brew pub, because event center's not allowed. What's that?
We're getting some.
Might want a bar and a wall with music.
I hear you. I just, you know, I mean,
Upscale.
I don't know, it seems like it might not be a bad idea just to kind of go through it real quick.
But I think you can always err on the side of it.
well, that's a good idea. Why don't we pick the low-hanging fruit from our committee and then let the neighbor, if the neighborhood says, oh, well, we really wanted a brew pub, we could always change the queue conditions. But it does seem like some of the things are just no-brainers that we don't want in a
Right.
public housing community and may not be allowed even by the feds anyway.
We could work through the list with community development
Maybe that's what
before
we
we
do.
submit the item for council next
So
week.
probably,
Okay.
talk to this meeting, but probably the one that's gonna be the most variation. Everything
Right.
else is a
Yeah,
resolution.
that's the district where you're gonna have some issues potentially.
Yeah,
Right, for sure.
okay.
But,
what-
you know, we intend to submit it today and have it on the council agenda next week, to set a public hearing on June.
Well, and I know we're under the gun time-wise, so we need to do something sensible. What's the committee's?
We can go to the mixed use meeting. Go to the mixed use meeting. And grab the low hanging fruit.
Okay, so you want to do that right now? Okay. So we're counting on you since you've got the list up on your phone.
Yeah, I've got it up here. I mean, obviously, you know, childcare is gonna be allowed. Just looking through the educational institutional stuff. I think all of those. Private club is listed under mixed use medium.
Oh, check that out. Okay, private club, brew pub,
Yeah, let's see. You
bar.
got clinic, hospital, medical lab, I don't think those are problems. You know, the animal daycare, I think that's probably okay. Automobile service, you know, so like your, you know, Jiffy Lube kind of thing.
Okay, so we need to take that kind of thing out. I don't think we need doggy daycare because the barking dogs, that will never get enforced.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you, I guess. But there, you know, I think the doggy daycare does it allow for overnight?
It
Yeah,
does
I
not.
don't think so, yeah, daycare doesn't allow for overnight.
Yeah, but a lot of people who live here are going to live here all day long
Yeah, I hear you.
because they're not going to go to work.
Yeah. Let's
They're going to
see.
be enjoying the good
You've got
life.
your car wash, automated, manual,
No.
of course, a convenience store. The donation box is permitted as accessory, I don't know, I have to remember what those are accessory to.
Well, they end up looking trashy because
Yeah,
people
the
pile
donation
stuff
boxes
outside
can
of
be
them.
problems. Electronics repair. Let's see. Home improvement. Hotel. Let's see. Restaurants, upholstery shop is listed.
That wouldn't be offensive unless they used an air nailer.
They tend to be a little more industrial.
Yeah, Yeah, I would be surprised if they were like
Look,
it. And then the brew pub is listed.
Quick question about.
Amphitheater is permitted as accessory, but I think that's when it is an association with a park.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be having an amphitheater. We're only allowed to have one, you know.
I think that covers the ones that, people would be worried about.
Okay, and I've written down private club, brew pub, bar, doggy daycare, car wash, convenience store, donation box, amphitheater, but I'm kind of going back to the convenience store. If it was full of food, it would be one thing. If it's just full of booze, then that might be something different. And I don't think convenience stores can make it without booze, so never
And
mind.
there's two, at least two convenience stores already in the community.
In the area. And you've always got Family Dollar.
Yeah, everything's down.
An amphitheater and donation box. So, did y'all hear any other uses that sounded noxious?
Automobile service.
Automobile.
Auto service.
And then what did y'all decide on the upholstery shop?
I think we'll put it on here, and then if somebody comes with a novel idea of training young people to do reupholstery, maybe we'll reconsider. Okay,
Workforce development.
yeah. So, I'm gonna read them one more time, just to make sure everybody is in agreement. Private club, brew pub, bar, doggy daycare, car wash, convenience store, donation box, amphitheater, auto service center, upholstery shop. Anything else? Okay, do I hear a motion from anyone on the committee?
I move that we send this to full council with the listed recommendations for conditions.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so it's unanimous. So this item is approved, and now we are on to our next item, which is old and new business. I don't remember any, but do y'all have any old and new business that you can recall? Okay, well then we are to item 5. Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
It has been moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye.